Another day, another political showdown in Washington. But this time, it's Republicans versus Republicans. A controversial Senate provision linked to the January 6th investigation has created a deep split inside the GOP. And the U.S. House has just taken major action to shut it down. So what's really going on? Why are lawmakers furious? And could this trigger bigger consequences for Donald Trump, the Justice Department, and even the November elections? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this one vote could shake Congress and maybe even reshape the 2024 political strategy. The U.S. House of Representatives, which is currently controlled by Republicans, did something rare. They voted unanimously, 426-0, to remove a Senate-added provision that would have allowed senators to sue federal investigators for up to $500,000 if their communication records were searched without notice. Yes, you heard that right. Both Democrats and Republicans voted together. In today's polarized politics, that alone is big news. This provision quietly slipped into a broader funding bill that ended the longest government shutdown in U.S. history just last week. But once people noticed it, outrage spread quickly. Why? Because it would allow 8 Republican senators, all under scrutiny related to the January 6 Capitol attack investigations, to potentially seek millions in compensation from the Biden administration's Justice Department. Many House members saw this as self-serving, unethical, and damaging to public trust. But who inserted this provision, and why did it spark such fierce backlash, even from Republicans? Let's uncover that next. At the center of the firestorm was a clause that critics labeled a personal enrichment loophole, specifically designed to benefit lawmakers themselves. Several senators, including Senator Lindsey Graham, had been vocal about possibly using the law to sue the Justice Department. Graham even claimed he could sue for tens of millions of dollars. That statement alone set off alarms in the House. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican, said he was shocked and angry that such a provision even existed. He called it bad optics, meaning it looked terrible to the American people. Republicans like Representative Austin Scott, who wrote the repeal bill, didn't hold back either. He called it the most self-serving language he had ever seen in Congress. At a time when many Americans are struggling financially, lawmakers demanding millions for themselves didn't sit well, not with the public and clearly not with their House colleagues. But here's where things get even more interesting. Connections to Donald Trump, January 6th, and money. Let's dive into that next. This story doesn't end with lawmakers. Recent reports revealed that Donald Trump is demanding $230 million from the Justice Department to cover his legal fees from federal investigations, including those related to his actions during and after the 2020 election. That's right, while Republican senators were defending their right to potentially sue investigators for big money, Trump himself reportedly wants taxpayers to foot the bill of $230 million. Democrats quickly jumped on this, calling it part of a wider strategy by Trump allies to protect themselves financially and politically linked to January 6th investigations. Representative Joseph Morell, a Democrat, said it bluntly. These senators weren't just bystanders. Some may have been aware of, or even involved in, efforts to overturn the 2020 election, which led to the attack on this very building, the Capitol. This raised an ethical and constitutional question. Should lawmakers be able to profit or protect themselves from investigations into actions they may have been involved in? But even within the Republican Party, reactions were split, and some statements were surprisingly aggressive. Let's see who's threatening who. This episode exposed deep cracks in the Republican Party. Some Republicans fiercely denounced the Senate provision, while others defended it. Hardline conservative Representative Chip Roy took a strong stand and even issued a warning to the Senate. Take this up and pass it, or you're not getting any support from me for your measures. That's a direct threat from one Republican to his own party's senators. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican, defended the controversial provision, calling it an essential protection against government overreach and separation of powers violations, suggesting that lawmakers need legal protection from federal agencies. But here's the twist. Despite disagreements, Thune insisted that there's still a strong working relationship between the House and Senate. In other words, yes, there's tension, but they don't want it to become a full-on civil war inside the party. So what happens now? Will this repeal actually go through the Senate, and could it affect upcoming elections? Let's find out in our final section. So what's next? Now that the House has voted to eliminate the Senate's controversial January 6th provision, the question is, will the Senate agree to remove a rule that some of its own members want to keep and potentially profit from? If the Senate refuses, it could cause A. A major political showdown between House and Senate Republicans. B. Increased scrutiny of senators potentially connected to January 6th. C. More public attention on Trump's legal battles and his request for $230 million. But there's a bigger impact. This conflict reveals cracks inside the Republican Party during Trump's second term, showing that unity is not as strong as it once was. With elections approaching and investigations still active, these divisions might become even more visible. One law, one vote, and suddenly the Republican Party faces its biggest internal test in months. Was this provision just bad writing, or was it an attempt by lawmakers to legally shield themselves from investigation? And as Trump seeks millions back from the Justice Department, is this just the beginning of a bigger political and legal storm? What do you think? Was the House right to repeal this rule? Should lawmakers be allowed to sue investigators? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like the video, comment your opinion, subscribe for more political breakdowns and global news analysis, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.